Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining me here as we continue our series of 10 lessons on familiar pitfalls, falling into familiar pits. I am Elder James T. Moss Sr. I am the author of the book, Familiar Pitfalls, Falling into Familiar Pits. And I want to encourage you to pick up the book, okay? Hey, you can search for it by title on Amazon, or you can search for it by my name on Amazon. All right. It comes in hardback, paperback, and ebook, and it's also on 11 Labs in audiobook as well. Okay. Now understand, I'm not teaching the whole book. I'm not going through every chapter, every verse, and everything. I mean, every line, but everything that I'm teaching can be found in the book. Okay. But it's not totally exclusively the book. Okay. There's more to it. There's a lot more to it. Okay. So definitely get it for yourself, get it for a friend, a family member. Hey, even create a group, create a study group, and get the book. Trust me, it's a thing that'll last a lifetime. These are lessons that we can come back and go over again and again and again, and we still learn something new about being victorious over familiar pitfalls. Okay, so we're in lesson 6. Okay, this one is entitled "The Door I Keep Leaving Open." All right, so we're dealing with understanding pitfalls and or sins that we keep falling back into, we keep falling victim to, and trying to understand why these things happen and trying to understand how can I be victorious in this thing. Okay, so listen, in our last lesson we dealt with the voice that keeps leading us back. All right, we learned that if we do not recognize what has been guiding us, we may keep blaming the fall while ignoring the guide. Okay, so now we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward from the voice that leads us back to the access point that keeps making return possible. Okay, so we're going from what's leading us back to the access point. All right, you follow me? Okay, cool. All right, so now look, today's question is, what door am I leaving open? That's that access point. All right, so this is important because some familiar pits do not regain access because they are stronger than us. Sometimes they regain access because we never fully closed the door. Mm. See, we may sincerely want freedom, but still leave an old entrance available. We pray for deliverance while still protecting access. We may say that, oh, we're finished with the pit, but still keep something nearby that gives the pit a way to speak again. Hmm. So if the door remains open, the pit does not have to break in. Huh. See, it only has to wait until we are tired and tired enough, or wounded enough, or angry enough, or lonely enough, or careless enough to walk back through it. You see, an open door is anything that keeps giving the old pattern access. Okay, it may be a conversation that should have been ended or should have ended a long time ago. It could be a relationship that keeps stirring the wrong appetite. It could be a memory. We keep rehearsing it until it becomes desire again. Or it could be an environment we keep revisiting, even though we already know what it awakens in us. It could be a private habit no one else sees, but it keeps feeding what God is trying to starve. These are those open doors. See, this is where honesty becomes necessary, because some things are not accidental temptations. Some things are access points. So I want you to understand this. And if I keep protecting that access point, I cannot be surprised when the old pattern keeps finding a way back in. Okay, the familiar pit does not always need a dramatic doorway. Okay, sometimes it only needs a small opening that I refuse to close, because part of me still wants what comes through it. Okay. So I'm sitting here and I'm talking about I want deliverance, I want freedom, but there's a part of me is like, oh, but I enjoy the bondage. See, Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." That word "keep" carries the idea of guarding. It means the heart is not supposed to be left unprotected, unmanaged, and open to every influence that wants entry. Okay, if my heart is valuable, then access matters. Okay, what I watch matters, what I rehearse matters, what I entertain matters. What I keep revisiting matters. What I keep giving influence to matters. Many times we want God to guard what we keep exposing. We want peace while feeding anxiety. We want purity while entertaining compromise. We want freedom while keeping the old pattern within reach. Huh? See, but scripture teaches that the heart must be guarded with diligence, not casually, not occasionally, not only after damage has already been done. If the issues of life flow from the heart, then whatever has access to the heart has influence over the direction of life. And that means open doors cannot be treated like small matters. Okay? One sign of maturity is learning that not everything deserves access to me, right? Every person does not deserve access to my heart. Every thought does not deserve access to my mind. Every memory does not deserve access to my emotions. Every opportunity does not deserve access to my time. Every desire does not deserve access to my decision making. All right. This does not mean we live suspicious, fearful, or closed off from healthy relationships. It means we stop being careless with what God is trying to heal. All right. If I know something keeps weakening obedience, I do not need to keep moving or proving that I can be around it. If I know a certain conversation keeps pulling me backwards, I do not need to keep calling it harmless. If I know a certain place keeps reviving old appetite, I don't need to keep pretending I'm just passing through. All right. Wisdom does not wait for the pit to become visible before it starts closing doors. See, sometimes the most spiritual thing that I can do is stop giving access to what keeps making disobedience or making obedience harder. Okay. So the door that keeps us bound is often the door we keep defending. Hmm? We, we may call it harmless. We may call it normal. We may say, hey, look, it's not that serious, or I'm not doing anything wrong, or I can stop whenever I want. But if I have to keep defending the thing that keeps pulling me back, then I need to ask, why am I so committed to protecting this? We got to ask ourselves the hard questions. So sometimes the issue is not that we do not know the door is dangerous. Sometimes the issue is that part of us still wants access to what's behind it. Hmm. You see, uh, that's why defensiveness can reveal attachment. Uh, See, when wisdom challenges the door and I immediately start making excuses for it, I may be protecting more than just a habit. I may be protecting a desire. Hmm. So as long as desire keeps defending the door, wisdom will keep being treated like an interruption. See, so the question becomes uncomfortable but necessary when I say, am I guarding my freedom or am I guarding my access? See, some doors do not just need to be locked. They need to be removed. Okay? A locked door still assumes the door belongs there. It still leaves a possibility that under pressure, discouragement, loneliness, anger, or appetite, I might unlock it again. Hmm. But there are some access points that have been proven too dangerous to keep available. Some contacts need to be deleted. Some places need to be avoided. Some habits need to be broken. Some private patterns need to be confessed. Some supplies need to be removed. And some conversations just absolutely need to end. You see, this is not about pretending we are stronger than we are. This is about being honest enough to stop leaving open what keeps defeating us. Because if the door keeps becoming a way back to the pit, then I do not need better excuses for keeping it. All right. I need the courage to close what keeps costing me freedom. And once we understand that some doors must be removed, we also have to face the reason we keep reopening them. Because we remove the door and we go buy another one. Oh, you know what? That might be a, well, we'll talk about that later. Another video, another series. Okay. Well, anyway, once we understand that some doors need to be closed or removed, we also have to ask why we keep reopening them. See, because many people know the door is dangerous, but still leave it unlocked. All right. They know the conversation is unhealthy, but still answer. They know the environment weakens them, but still returns. They know their habit feeds the old pattern, but still protect it. And they know the connection keeps pulling them backwards, but still keep it available. Hmm. That means the issue is not always ignorance. Sometimes the issue is attachment. Huh? See, there may be something behind that door that still confronts us, validates us, distracts us, excites us, or gives us a sense of control. And until we are honest about what the door is giving us, we may keep pretending the door is harmless. See, freedom requires more than closing what is dangerous, okay? It requires surrendering what keeps making danger desirable. See, one reason open doors are so dangerous is because access feeds appetite. Hmm. See, the more available something is, the easier it becomes to reach for it. The more we revisit it, the more familiar it feels. The more we rehearse it, the more normal it becomes. The more we entertain it, the stronger the pull can become. All right. So, this is why we cannot keep feeding what we're asking God to starve. See, a person cannot keep feeding bitterness and expect to grow for peace to grow. You can't keep feeding lust and expect purity to strengthen, or you can't keep feeding fear and expect faith to lead. You can't keep feeding offense and expect forgiveness to become easier. See, whatever I give repeated access to will eventually begin shaping my appetite. And once appetite is strengthened, the door becomes harder to close. All right. So wisdom does not only ask, is this sin? Wisdom also asks, what is this feeding in me? Hmm? Ephesians 4:27 tells us, neither give place to the devil. That verse is short, but it is serious. See, it teaches us that the enemy looks for place. He looks for room. He looks for opportunity. He looks for an opening where influence can begin. Okay, sometimes the devil does not need full control. He only needs a place, A place in the mind, a place in the heart, a place in the conversation, a place in the habit, a place in the relationship, a place in the schedule, a place in the private life. And if he can gain a place, he can start working from that place. See, that is why open doors matter because, see, they may look small to us, but they can become strategic to the enemy. All right. So when scripture says neither give place, it is not calling us to fear. It is calling us to vigilance because what we give place to can begin taking ground. Okay. So listen, a stronghold does not always begin as a stronghold. Sometimes it begins as a small opening, a thought we did not challenge, basically a conversation we did not end, or how about a desire we kept feeding, or a compromise we kept explaining. How about a warning we kept ignoring, or maybe a boundary that we kept delaying? See, at first, it may not look like much, but it may seem manageable. It may feel like something we can control, but repeated access gives small things room to grow. So the danger is that what begins as a small opening can become a pattern. The pattern can become a habit. The habit can become an attachment. And the attachment can become a place where the enemy keeps finding agreement. Huh? See how all that works together. See, that is why we cannot measure danger only by how small something looks in the beginning. See, a door does not have to be wide open to be dangerous. It only has to be open enough for the wrong thing to keep creeping in. Ah. See, sometimes we keep the door open by changing what we call it. We don't call it compromise, we call it connection. Ah. We don't call it temptation, we call it entertainment. We don't call it unforgiveness, we call it protecting ourselves. We don't call it pride. We call it knowing our worth. We do not call it disobedience. We call it taking our time. See, but renaming a door does not change where it leads. Hmm? Putting a new paint job on a door doesn't change where it leads. See, If the result is the same pit, then the door is still dangerous no matter what we name it, how we dress it up, what we call it. It's still a door to the pit. All right. This is where spiritual honesty becomes necessary. You see, I cannot heal what I keep disguising. I cannot close what I keep defending. I cannot surrender what I keep relabeling so it sounds less serious than what it is. A familiar pit often survives because we keep giving respectable names to dangerous access. And once we stop dressing up the door, we can finally tell the truth about where it has been taking us. Every door, every door points to a direction, in a direction. Some doors point toward healing, doors point toward wisdom, some doors point toward accountability, some doors point toward prayer, truth, and obedience. But other doors point back toward the pit. See, so the question is not only can I open this door, the real question is where does this door lead? Huh? See, does it lead me closer to God or further from it? Does it strengthen obedience or weaken it? Does it help my healing or keep reopening the wound? Uh, does it make truth clearer or compromise easier? Does it feed the new life or revive the old one? Okay, so a door should be judged by its direction, not by how innocent it looks. Okay, because if a door keeps leading me back to the same place, then I already know more than I'm admitting. And if I already know where it leads, wisdom is calling me to stop walking through it. All right. So the best time to close a dangerous door is before crisis. Okay. Before the pressure rises, before the emotions are heavy, or the appetite gets loud, or loneliness starts talking, or anger starts justifying, before the old pattern starts looking reasonable again. Huh? See, many people wait until they are already overwhelmed before they try to make a decision. But when the heart is tired, the flesh is louder. When the mind is worn down, excuses sound stronger. When the emotions are stirred, wisdom can feel inconvenient. That is why boundaries work best when they are built before the battle reaches its highest point. Huh? If I already know a door leads backward, I do not need to wait until I'm standing in front of it again to decide what will I do. I can close it now. I can remove it now. I can ask for help now. I can obey now. See, because freedom is protected by decisions made before the pit starts calling again. Huh? Romans 13 and 14 tells us, but put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. That word provision is important, okay? Provision means I'm making room for something before it happens. I am supplying it. I am preparing for it. I am keeping something available so that when the desire shows up, the path is already ready. The way has already been made for it. So that is why some doors are so dangerous because they are not just openings, they are provisions. If I keep the number, I've made provision. If I keep the access, I've made provision. If I keep the secret habit, I've made provision. If I keep the old environment available, I've made provision. If I keep protecting the excuse, I have made provision. You see, Paul does not only say resist the flesh when it shows up, he says do not make provision for it at all. So that means I cannot keep preparing a place for what I am asking God to help me overcome. And one reason people keep leaving doors open is because closing them can cost something. It may cost comfort, convenience, or relationship, access to something we've enjoyed, the feeling of control. It may cost the version of ourselves that knew how to survive in the pit, even if that version was never free. See, this is where we have to be honest. Sometimes we say we want freedom, but we do not want the cost of freedom. We want the pit gone, but we still want access to the things that made the pit familiar. So, what are we saying? You know, we have to understand this. But freedom always requires agreement. See, if we agree with the old access, I keep strengthening the old pattern. But if I agree with God, I may have to release what my flesh still wants to keep. It requires an agreement. And that is where obedience becomes real. See, not when it costs me nothing, but when I choose God over the door I used to defend. When a dangerous door is closed, it is wise to replace access with accountability. See, some doors stay open because everything connected to them has been kept secret. No one knows the struggle, no one knows the pattern, no one knows the access point, no one knows the warning signs, no one knows how close the person has been standing to the edge. But secrecy gives familiar pits the room to breathe. See, so accountability does not mean telling everybody everything. It means allowing the right person with the right spirit to help me guard what I cannot afford to keep exposing. All right. So now understand this. There are some victories that require more than private intention. Okay. They require honest support, prayer, correction, and someone who can ask the questions I may not ask myself when I am weak. So if the door has been dangerous and secret, then part of closing it may require bringing it into the light. Hmm? When God helps us close the door, we have to guard the new ground. Freedom must be maintained, deliverance must be stewarded, boundaries must be respected, wisdom must be practiced. So it is impossible to close the door in a strong moment and then slowly reopen it through carelessness. Huh? Well, it is possible. I'm sorry. Uh, because in a strong moment, yeah, well, I can deal with this, and I'm gonna shut the door on it. But then the moment that we're careless, we are able to reopen it. All right, so that is why we cannot treat one good decision like it finishes the whole work. Okay, one good decision is just the start. It's the start to change. But the continued obedience helps protect the change that we start with that first good decision. So the enemy will often test a closed door. Okay, old thoughts may knock again, old desires may speak again, old connections may reach again, old excuses may try to sound reasonable again. But a closed door does not have to become an open door just because something knocks. Remember that. If God gave me grace to close it, He can also give me grace to keep it closed. And every time I refuse to reopen what used to defeat me, I am learning to guard the freedom God is building in me. Hmm. So, so the question for this lesson comes up as, what door am I leaving open? Not just what pit have I fallen into, not just what pattern keeps repeating, or not just what weaknesses keep showing up, but what access point have I been protecting? Uh, what have I been calling harmless that keeps leading me backward? Uh, what have I been defending that keeps weakening obedience? Okay. What have I been keeping close that keeps making return possible? Uh, what have I renamed or excused or minimized or hidden because part of me still wants it to be available? Huh? So this is where honesty matters, because freedom is not only about wanting the pit to lose power. Freedom also means closing the door that keeps giving the pit access. All right, this is where honesty matters, because freedom is not only about wanting the pit to close. And I want you to understand. We think that we can just be free if the pit is closed, but we don't want to give up our access. We don't want to give up our backstage pass. So again, this is where honesty matters. Again, this is where honesty matters, because freedom is not only about wanting the pit to lose power. Freedom also means closing the door that keeps giving the pit access. And once I know what door needs to be closed, um, the next act of obedience is not complicated. All right. It may be difficult, but it is clear. Close the door. See, the door I keep leaving open may be the reason the familiar pit keeps falling or keeps feeling close. Okay. So it may not be that I have no desire for freedom. It may not be that God is unwilling to help me. It may not be that change is impossible. It may be that I keep leaving access available to what God is calling me to shut down. Mm. So today we're not only asking God to pull us out of pits, we're asking Him to show us doors we keep leaving open. Huh? Lord, show me where I have made provision for what you are trying to remove. Show me where I have defended access instead of guarding freedom. Show me where I have called something harmless because I did not want to surrender it. Give me the courage to close what needs to close, remove what needs to be removed, and guard the ground that you have helped me gain. Because the pit does not need permission anymore. Uh, the door does not need to stay open anymore. And by the grace of God, I do not have to keep giving access to what keeps pulling me backwards. Hmm. All right. So listen, that brings us to the end of this lesson, and I truly hope that it speaks to you. When we talk about leaving doors open, we're leaving an access to ourselves, to our innermost being, that should be closed, should be monitored, should be guarded. And, we shouldn't be defensive about the reasons that we leave those doors open. So, when in your time, give yourself, a personal inventory of why am I keeping certain doors open? What's the reasoning behind that? What's the connection? What am I looking for? And I guarantee you, you will really start to understand and appreciate the fact that, hey, you know what? There's some things that's got to go if I'm going to be better. There's some things that's got to change if I'm going to be happier. All right. So until next time, God bless you. God keep you. And at this point, we are at the halfway point through these lessons. I hope that you continue to follow them and tell your friends and family about this. Familiar pitfalls, huh? Pick it up, read it, study it, share it. All right. Until next time, God bless you. God keep you. And as I always say, and I always tell my students, keep studying.